Well, thank you, Ryan, for that wonderful introduction. As I said, great to be here again. And I want to talk today about the idea or the sense of unlocking your superpowers and confidence with well-being, which is it's a different way to be looking at confidence, because usually it's about pushing through, pushing harder, and being very results focused. And my offering is that the confidence through alignment and through self-regulation in your body. I wanted to actually offer a quote, and the quote is from someone I admire greatly and use her as a reference with talking with my clients. Amy Cuddy says, "Don't fake it till you make it. Fake it till you become it." Do you know Amy Cuddy?
No, but that I
Oh.
love that. That is, let's highlight that one.
Yeah. And it's very much about that being, or just like, confidence isn't a commodity that you can just get, and which is a lot of people I see try to, and then it ends up being very challenging for them, and they're wondering and starting to get in their head and say, I'm failing. And so rather than leaning into the getting of confidence, it's just more of that beingness and that becoming confident, which is the embodied confidence. So that's kind of the premise of what I'd like to share today, Ryan. And so I'd love to hear your perspective on that too. Starting off with the oxygen mask metaphor. So what are they going to say when you get into the safety check?
Yeah, so make sure in case of emergency, please put on your oxygen mask first before you help another person.
Exactly, because without our own oxygen, we're not going to be able to help ourselves or others. And so using that metaphor, if we're thinking about as a foundation for how we're going to help ourselves become confident. And so that when we do have that sense of fundamental safety of being able to breathe, because if we're in a fear state, we're not going to be open to the possibility of looking at our strengths and looking at what is meaningful and aligned for us. And so it's that idea in regards to how we can be regulating ourselves with something as basic as oxygen. So just a visual for people to hold on to there. And the second is confidence in relationship to your body. And I started off with Amy Cuddy, who is a researcher about body language. I'm going to invite you, Ryan, and the listeners here to take up a power pose, and it could be Wonder Woman. I've got my hands on my hips right now, whether you're sitting or standing, or or Superman or Superperson, being a superhero, Ryan. And then another is the victory sign. So raising your arms up. Or anyway, so you just achieved an amazing feat in whatever it is, like finishing a run or finishing in a really hard set, right? And I'm just wondering, what do you notice from having done those couple of poses, Ryan?
I just feel more open, and because I can definitely feel like doing this, and like I just picture myself like in Vancouver, the girls grind, just like yes, like you're just embracing the moment, embracing a victorious moment of what I just did. So it feels good. It feels great.
Yeah, it's very open. And so our bodies can lead how we can feel about ourselves, and that openness. And Amy Cuddy goes into the body language and what you're signifying to people as well with your body language. And so something else that I would invite you to do, and your listeners too, Ryan, is I see you're sitting down there, and just taking a moment to notice and become more aware of your breath. You're not trying to change it, but just noticing your breath. And now I'm going to invite you to just put big smile on your face, a bigger smile than you're even smiling. And so with this big smile and noticing your breath, now just bringing attention to the rest of your posture, noticing is how your spine is. Are you relaxed? Are your shoulders down? Is your jaw clenched? Is there space between your teeth? And the feet contact with the ground, whether you're sitting or standing. Maybe some people are sitting on the floor, wherever they are while they're listening to this. And now inviting you to, in your own way, take 3 deeper breaths. And you may want to imagine inhaling all the way into your belly like a baby, and exhaling out of your nose or your mouth, whatever feels best for you. So how are you feeling now, Ryan?
You know, it is taking those 3 breaths and just really, like you were saying, just to visualize the breath going through the entire body, and, you know, having your feet placement and being rooted. It brings me in. It brings me into the moment, instead of thinking of, pre-thinking of like I hope this is going to be okay. I hope the technology is going to be okay. You know, I know I had issues on the first one, but dial in. It's okay. Just deep breathing. Deep breathing is key, not just from the chest, but into your belly, for sure. Right. So definitely being centered.
Yeah. Grounded and centered. And this is really helpful, especially if you are feeling overwhelmed or stressed out. A lot of my clients come to me from overwhelmed, stress, and burnout, and being able to help them find something that seems as simple as breathing intentionally and mindfully. And talking about mindfulness, John Kabat-Zinn, who was known for bringing mindfulness into the Western world, has a quote about, you can't stop the waves, but you can learn to surf.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And
nice.
So these ways that we have of finding the way to self-regulate through our bodies, and being able to self-soothe, calm ourselves down, and also putting in the aspect of self-care and how core that is. And it's not selfish. I don't know about you, Ryan, but a lot of my clients, when I offer that they might put their oxygen mask on first and look after themselves first, feel selfish to do that, and they're not putting themselves first. And then they run out of gas, basically. They don't have the capacity to help other people. And so I want to move to the third part of my conversation with you today, Ryan, which is about career DNA and superpowers. And I'm using as a focus, because I'm a career energy coach, career DNA, but you could think of this as something as to hold as an idea even for your own life in different aspects, whether it is in a health aspect, we'll use that since it's front of mind. And the idea of the relationship between energy and talents, and like how we bring those together with our strengths as well. And so like the blend of those, and it's our relationship between all of those. And when we find that relationship, we actually end up with our superpower in the middle there. Yeah, I love that. And it's interesting because one of the things I talk about with my clients in terms of them accessing their superpowers and then feeling more confident about what they're doing is the idea of flow. And I don't know if all of you, I know you would know it, Ryan, but I offer it to clients as it's where you lose time, because you're so engrossed in something that you're doing that 2 minutes feels like it's gone by, but it's actually been 2 hours. Much like I'm feeling like here, I can see we're coming almost to the end of the time, and I don't know about you, Ryan, but the time has flown by. And it's just that alignment of all of those aspects.
So just to touch base what you're saying there, so would you recommend to ground, to deep breathing? So if I am in that state of looking and go, shoot, I have a deadline, I have to meet my boss, or I have to meet a certain thing that's due soon, and I'm freaking out, I feel anxious, I feel stressed, I feel tense. So would you guys recommend doing the breathing, the groundwork, and what would you kind of suggest for that?
Yeah, so that's exactly a really great place to do it. Just because oftentimes, I don't know if you've experienced this, Ryan, I have myself, and then with my clients, which is you can in that overwhelm, in that seeing the deadline, and you're stressed out, you just almost freeze. And you actually, it's not an almost freeze, you do freeze and you get stuck, because you go into a survival aspect of looking at things. You don't feel safe, so you've gone into fight, flight, or freeze. And so to be able to step back from that, first of all, being able to recognize it, because sometimes but physically just like moving yourself from the environment. So if you're in a home office or office at work, it's just like stepping away from the computer or the situation if you can. And if you can't actually step away, of just being able to take a pause, and even the pause in the breath, like an intentional breath, to help you be able to step back and observe what's happening rather than being caught up in it and being reactive.
Beautiful. Yeah, no, instead of being caught up in it and being reactive, and then just dialing in, having that deep breath work, taking that slight little break from it.
So it's like, if you're like shaking that, and then you can even raise your arms a bit, or just kind of like when you see dogs when they get into an altercation and then they shake off, and they'll like shake that off. But we as human beings don't tend to do that. But we're like shaking off the energy. So you get to really physically shake that out of your body.
That is huge.
But I just wanted to quickly put in the last idea of resistance as an ally. And so what clients might perceive as a block or an obstacle or resistance could actually be a message or something for them to leverage and be able to look at their relationship with confidence, if it's not where it is, where they want it, to look at it in a different way, and that what they're perceiving as a resistance could just be offering them a different way of doing it. The different way may also be to have somebody else help them. Yeah, so just the idea of how you become confident, and you could have the lens of the oxygen mask. Remember, confidence in your body, and the power poses, shaking things off, the career DNA for your superpowers to build your confidence. So you have that relationship of how to access your superpowers, and then having a different relationship with resistance. So it can be an ally for you instead of an adversary. Adversary.
Adversary.
Thank you.
Awesome.